From a market's perspective, though, how should we be watching what is going to be an incredibly long general election contest in which rhetoric surely is going to run high and hot? How should we be parsing through this noise?
Well, it certainly was a big night for Donald Trump. As expected, we are now headed into, as you said, a rematch, which even in this divided country, I think most Americans would agree is not something they're excited to see. As you say, we have a long, long way to go and a lot of issues, and we still believe that this election will come down to really only tens of thousands of voters in a handful of states. It's going to be very, very close. Certainly economic news, good economic news is something that Biden is hoping can help him close the gap there. Certainly issues around China will be fast and furious, and the rhetoric will go. And then, of course, we have a number of personal attributes and fitness for leadership that both will address, both President Trump through the many court cases to come, and Biden addressing some of the issues around his age. We think Thursday night, State of the Union address will be a good opportunity for him to answer some of those questions.
Well, so what's the reaction from the international community at the idea of a rematch here when Joe Biden is telling the world that he is the difference between democracy and something that we can't recognize?
Well, certainly the global markets and countries around the world are watching this closely. This is unusual in that we have seen both of these men govern, and different countries have experienced interacting with both. Both President Trump and President Biden have strong emphasis on building domestic manufacturing in America. Trump a bit more through some of the trade and tariff wars that we saw, and President Biden with a lot of incentives, the CHIPS Act, the Inflation Reduction Act. Some of those have rubbed allies the wrong way, although certainly we think Biden has tried to be a bit more accommodating, but certainly countries around the world and global markets are watching this election quite closely.
Well, Sarah, you mentioned the issue of tariffs and China. Of course, Donald Trump has floated the idea of potentially having 60% plus tariffs on everything coming out of China should he be in a second administration scenario. But it's worth noting that the tariffs that were put into place under his administration the first go around are still in place. They were not lifted under the Biden administration. Is this just a scenario in which no one cannot be a hawk on China?
It is certainly behoove anybody to look weak on China right now. As you mentioned, in addition to leaving the tariffs, President Biden also issued warnings last week to Chinese electric vehicle manufacturing that he's going to take steps to prevent them developing and producing in the American market. So I think you're going to hear a lot of hawkish rhetoric on Thursday night from President Biden, and it will be matched. At some point, there is going to probably be some reckoning. I do expect at some point that Biden will point out that a 60% across-the-board tariff on China, and also the 10% universal tariff that President Trump has called for is a bit inflationary, would cause consumers harm. You've already heard that from Nikki Haley and other Republicans. So there are some policies where the candidates may point out that it's going a bit too far.
Well, if the international community, if markets are not going to be hearing from Joe Biden tonight, they certainly will on Thursday. Is that going to be the message that markets carry forward here? We've made the point repeatedly tonight that that'll be his largest audience until the convention. But that's domestically speaking, Sarah. How about internationally?
Oh, I think international leaders around the world will watch the State of the Union. This is very, very important. They are looking to see how this election shapes up. They want to see how hot the rhetoric is going to get, particularly from Biden in the election year. This is not only an opportunity for Biden to speak to the 20 to 30 million Americans that we expect will tune in, but also an opportunity for him to speak to world leaders, to tell him that he is up for the job, that he has a lot of important priorities to carry through with them, and they have a lot at stake in this election as well.